So with Jonathan Son story, because I can't say his name, I'm gonna butcher it. But that story also, it's a self-reflection check of our lives. Like, where have we been crippled? Have you given it fully to God? Like, search your life, do a reflection. Don't worry about, like you say, don't worry about the speck in your eye. Worry about what you got going in your life. Don't worry about your neighbors. Don't worry about what nobody else doing. Like, we constantly, every day, have to work on us, because, listen, it is a daily job. Like, because any moment, if you're not working on you or seeing things that, things that have crippled you, things that trigger you, things that annoy you, paying attention to those things are important, because anything can happen during the day, and how you handle it is what matters, and how you respond to it matters, and what you pass down matters. So in this season, let's continue to, like, God, the areas that where I at one point felt forgotten and not where I felt forgotten, and not, not noticing that you have always been there for me. Like, yeah, we might want people to be there for us, but God, like, help me to know that you've always been there for me, that you've always had me. And if you're people pleasing, like, listen, my favorite scripture, Galatians 1:10, God, listen, that scripture, God gave me that a few years ago. That has been my favorite scripture. That's why it's, like, important when God gave me God-led ministry, because God was letting me know, like, you're going to be God-led. You're not about to be man-led, nobody touching you, none of that. So it's like God-led. Like, that came, like, because you either going to be Christ servant or you're going to be people please. You cannot do both. So therefore, God, help the areas that made me crippled and people pleasing. What made me people please? Because sometimes the things that we don't get, you'll dim you and pretend and, be something that you're not, just to have people around you, just to, have that company when you know that company ain't good for you. You don't want to do this, but they want to do this, and you're doing this because you want to keep that friend. You want to be like you finally got something and you want to hold on to it. Because maybe I had attachment issues. I had, when you're abandoned and you're forgotten and you're always rejected, and it starts off as a child, like, those were my root issues. And going to the root issue, because as a child, like, no one ever protected me. My father blamed me for, my brother touching me. I got whooped for that when my brother raped me. Then at 14 by 5 guys, and one of them I was supposed to be talking to, and it's just like, not being protected by guys, it makes you give yourself freely. I didn't have boundaries. I was so scared, like, oh my God, if I don't do this, is something going to happen? It's going to get taken from me. And that's a fear that you don't want, where you got to give more of you and things you don't want to do. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, I've been saying for the longest, like, I don't want to have sex in marriage. Like, I want this, and it's like, well, you got to do this in order to keep me. And we give into that. So start going to the root of the issues on what made you crippled. What made you crippled, and you're giving more of you. You're being depleted to where you're not becoming who you need to be, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. Because, like, when you're, like, crippled spiritually, you're not going to follow God. You're going to still give into flesh. When you crippled emotionally, you're going to always react in ways that you don't have no business reacting in, and always going off and chasing people, and like, people know this, and people trigger you in those ways. Like, well, they know that, I gotta do this, and give them a little something here, buy them a little gift here, and I hated my marriage. Oh my God. The best thing that came out of my marriage were my children. Oh my God, the constant of you fighting for somebody. I would never fight for a man again in my life the way that I fought for the guys that I talked to. And I depleted myself, and I didn't have no self-respect. Like, we're gonna be honest, I didn't have no, like, the way that I was fighting and putting more effort, I didn't have no self-respect. Like, I respected myself, but I didn't love myself enough to know that, if they're gonna keep doing this, then I'm going to leave. I was fighting to keep the people, like, the relationships I was in, and it's just like, it shouldn't be like that, because that's not how God is. God's not going to abuse you. God's not going to, but it boils down to the root of the issue, because God's not like that. Your father did this to you. Everything starts at home. So how you treat others and the way that you act and respond, what did you get while you was a child? What happened to you as a child? And those factors play into how you grow up and the ways that you have. And we need to know God's ways, and going through the process, God is like literally breaking those things off. Like, everybody's not going to leave you, Lashella. Everybody's not the same. But walking with God will give you the bad first to show you. Listen, God will give you, me personally, during my journey, and the way God give things to me, it's like you got to go through the bad because it's inevitable to pass it. You got to go through the bad. So therefore, as you're going through the bad, still see the good in things, because God made all things good. People make things bad. So therefore, people get in the way. People have bad motives. Don't consider everyone bad. And that's what taught me that everybody is not the same. So along my journey, like, God had to show me, you just got to pay attention. When you seek God, God will show you. When you seek God, God will, reveal things, the mysterious things to you. You just have to be willing to want God and let God in, because God will show you, I'm not forceful. I'm not like men. You can choose me. You cannot choose me. It's better to have me now than to need me and call and at a time where you're going to call me and I can't be found. So no, God, I'm with you. Just like, you correct me, show me the things, because we're going to always make fault. Like, God shows you're going to have shortcomings. Like, you're not perfect. Jesus was the only one. You're in my image, but I need you to have the reflection of me when things happen. Like, turn the other cheek. Because I was a fighter. All that anger that I had built in me from my dad, like, imagine, like, when things, like, I can't forget this, it was a tuna melt. My dad wanted me to make a tuna melt, and it didn't come out, like, perfect to his way, and I got slapped for it. Things that happened to me where, my dad taking an extension cords, just beating me, kicking me, punching me, slapping me, favoring his other children, his wife over me, like that did a lot of damage. I had more damage, and that's why I say anything that anybody else do, it's like icing on the cake, because I already got the mental, the physical, the emotional damage and spiritual damage when I was a kid. I went through hell as a kid first before I ever went through, like, anything, like, growing up, before I had a chance to do anything on my own, really, like, on my own. So I experienced hell, but something in my mind was like, you're going to be the opposite. You don't have to stay crippled. And then, like, a voice of God speaking to me when I was 7, like, and I can't forget, because I thought it was, like, when my dad first got us, like, I heard a man's voice, and I thought it was my dad talking, but he wasn't even talking, and I was looking out the window, and God spoke some words to me, and it was just like, okay, I'm going to do that. And I always had this little dream of, like, when I get older, I'm going to have a job working at a shelter. Not a shelter, but for the homeless. And, like, God then was speaking, like, what you're going to be. You don't see it now. You're a kid. And people don't understand, like, even with your children, when they say, Mommy, I heard a voice talking to me, like, you got to believe that. Don't be so crippled in your ways and what people do. Like, God won't use your children to talk to you, because God will use your children to talk to you. God will work on you, like, and this is why, like, everything that I went through, like, now when my kids do it, it's like, it helps me. God talked to you when you was God talked to you at 7, so therefore, like, when you keep talking to your kids, you went through all that, but that's for you to help somebody else. You learn the areas where you're crippled. I don't like, even with my kids, like, even now, like, okay, I'm walking with God, I'm trying to do everything and make sure that everything is balanced, but where can it cripple me at? And yes, I'm doing everything the best that I can to my abilities, but it's just like, okay, anything that could cripple my kids right now in a situation, circumstances, so where do I need to slow down? It's like my children, they're in school, they make A's and B's, but I see that, I gotta slow down, because my daughter's gonna need a tutor. Math and reading. I'm not the reading person. I didn't like reading in school. So trying to help them, and you gotta learn the syllabus, and you gotta teach them this, you gotta teach them, okay, comprehension. Okay, yeah, that's out of my league. Math, I can do the simple stuff, but anything over that, out of my league. So it's like, you gotta learn to slow down to get your children help, so they won't be so far behind. And it's like the self-reflection of things that we gotta do, like, where can you slow down to where you're giving so much of everything else? Are you working out of God habits or your habits still? I don't know. It's just like, that story is like a whole, like, it ain't talked about enough, but it's just like, what in our life is crippling? And, as we're walking with God, what areas can we slow down in that we see that are crippling, that can be passed down to our kids? Where do our kids need help in? Where do we still need help in? What areas, and it's just being honest. That's the thing about it. It's just being honest with self. The more you walk with God, the more you read stories, it's like, okay, God, and this is what is crippling, and what do I need to slow down? What needs more balance, or what can I balance out in life right now? So It's all about being honest, and don't allow what crippled you to hinder you from growing, because you are valuable. You are deserving of everything that God has for you.